What is up, guys? Today we are doing US-378, so let's get started. Just reminding you that you have 2 free requests per video. I highly recommend that you use them. US-378 is about 234 miles long, and it runs from Washington, Georgia to Conway, South Carolina, and we're going eastbound. So like I said, we're going eastbound, and we are going to be first signed for Lincolnton off of US-78 and Georgia 17 and 10. And we're going to be immediately concurrent with Georgia 47. Here we get a one-liner from Lincolnton. I want to see something like more major here as a primary, like maybe Greenwood, McCormick, Columbia, like a big jump, something like that. That'd be cool. We meet Georgia 220, which is kind of like Lincoln County's Beltway, sort of. It's signed for Thompson. And we get this stupid mileage sign here. Appling should not be the primary, we're northwest of it. Appling should have been signed on Georgia 220. The red dot's where we just were at, and the blue circle is where Appling is. Why is it not on Georgia 220, dude? G-dot, I have to give you this, I'm sorry. Because that should be something else. Here in Lincolnton, Georgia 47 splits from us, and Georgia 43 becomes a new assigned route, and we have a new line for Elberton, which I guess is okay, but it's not really the best option, because it's in Georgia 72's favor, and we're heading like the other way from it. I would prefer to see Greenwood or Columbia. Besides, Georgia 17 back behind us was a better option to get at Elberton. Here we meet Georgia 79 and Georgia 43 connector. Georgia 79 goes to Elberton, and Georgia 43 connector goes to Augusta and Appling. We are now signed for McCormick, South Carolina. Also, what was that goofy shield of US-378, bro? It looks like it was just rushed on in Microsoft Word. We meet the other terminus at Georgia 220, and it is signed for Kenna. We begin to cross the Savannah River, and now we enter the state of South Carolina. Now we pass by the road that I did my voice reveal for. It is signed for Bordix, Wellington, Mount Carmel, Calhoun Falls, and Hickory Non-State Park. Then we pass over Baker's Creek. Here I have a personal pic of the beginning of the US 221 concurrency, along with us meeting South Carolina 28. And we are also signed for Greenwood, and this is why I mentioned it earlier for the mileage signs. Then we pass over this Antigua Ferrer crossing. These are very old, so very cool. Here we split from US 221, and we are signed for Saluda and Columbia. This is really good, SC Dot. Nice job. And the mileage sign is for Saluda and Columbia, so that's really good. We meet South Carolina 67, and we intended once again, and it is signed for Callison and Greenwood. So I won't take away a star for this because this isn't the worst thing I've seen compared to the Appling mileage sign I saw earlier at Georgia 220, because, well, Greenwood doesn't really have to necessarily be there because you already had US 221 there for Greenwood, and Saluda and Columbia should be staying on there, and South Carolina 67 should have just Callison. Here we meet US 25, which is sent for Greenwood and Edgefield. Greenwood's fine here because that's the only option US 25 has. And don't worry, Columbia is still with us. Then at South Carolina 430, we still have Columbia, even on the Control C sign above the route sign. And South Carolina 430 signed for Edgefield, by the way. But anyways, this is so good. They're keeping it consistent. They even signed it in a minor intersection in the middle of nowhere. Here we meet US 178 and South Carolina 121 in Saluda. The South Carolina 39 signs missing though, sadly. Also, this is a personal picture. Now, as we make a left turn here, we get a new line for Lexington, and that's really good. Then as we meet South Carolina 194 and an invisible US 178 connector, we get signed only for Columbia here. I guess that's fine, but Lexington makes more sense. Either one's fine though, I don't really care. Here we get a mileage sign for Lexington and Columbia. This is the right choice. Here we'll let it call the Megabout, aka the Saluda Traffic Circle. We meet South Carolina 391, and we are just signed for Columbia here. How come the top has 2 control cities? It's because Saluda is for the other direction 378, Prosperity is for South Carolina 391, but still, I kinda wanna see Lexington at the bottom. I'm gonna give you a little bit of grace here, SC Dot, don't let me down. Here we pass by Leighton Raves and glassy looking water. It looks really nice. Before I say anything, this picture is taken by Forder fans, so thank you for that. Also, SC Dot, why are we signing Lexington in Lexington? I'm sorry, but I have to do this. Here we split with US1 and get signed for Irmo. Here we join South Carolina 6 and we get a new line for Columbia. SC6 split, we get Columbia, and also the Porter fan, thank you for the pictures once again, really appreciate it. As we begin to enter the Columbia area, we meet I-20, which is signed for Florence and Augusta. Then we meet I-26, which is signed for Spartanburg and Charleston. Then we meet South Carolina 12, which has a sign for Columbia. At this light, we meet US-21, US-176, and US-321, silently for some reason. I don't know why there's no junction signs here. Next, we have a concurrency with US-76. We make a right turn along with US-76 away from US-1 and we get signed for Sumter. Here we meet South Carolina 262 and I-77. I-77 signed for Charlotte, Charleston, and Spartanburg, which are the right choices. We meet US-601 at a construction site and an interchange, and it is signed for St. Matthews and Camden. Next we meet US-76's business route and US-521 Sumter, and we are now signed for Florence and Conway. Then we meet US-15, which goes to Bishopville, and it's Main Street. Then we meet US-401 as Oswego Road, and it's signed for Darlington. Why are the control cities and road names swapped out this time? Whatever. US-76 splits from us here to go to Florence. Then we meet I-95, which is signed for Florence and Savannah. Then we get a mileage time for Turbeville, Lake City, and Myrtle Beach, which is alright. When we join US-301 Turbeville, we still have Myrtle Beach and Lake City, which is really good. After US-301 leaves us, we get a good mileage time for Lake City, Conway, and Myrtle Beach. Now we enter Lake City and meet our business loop along with South Carolina 341. We meet US-52 next and it's signed for Lake City and Florence. Next, South Carolina 51 becomes concurrent with us and we still have Conway and Myrtle Beach. This is good. I'm considering adding that star back. Just keep doing good, SC Dot. Now when the SC51 leaves us, South Carolina 41 joins us and we still have Conway and Myrtle Beach. Yes, yes, okay, you deserve this. At the South Carolina 41 split, we get a little bit disappointed here. We have a one-liner for Conway. Keep Myrtle Beach, please, just keep it. And South Carolina 41 has Marion Mullins, which I guess is fine, but still, the sign right there with Conway and Marion Mullins, Myrtle Beach should be on there, because South Carolina 41 has 2 cities. We don't. South Carolina Dot, just don't risk it again. Don't push my patience. Here in Conway, we meet US-501, US-701, and we will be heading towards South Carolina 905. And that 701 shield is misleading because right here we actually meet it and it should be left-right arrows right here, but it isn't. Then we end at US-501 Business, and it is signed for North Myrtle Beach, and Loris. Hence the Myrtle Beach sign. That's why I wanted to keep it until Conway, but alas. Anyways, the good news is that SC Dot managed to keep 2 good boy stars. It's segment of US-378, but G Dot gotta do better, man. Anyways, let's turn around and head westbound. Alright, here we'll be resetting the good boy stars since we'll be going westbound. Dude, if I don't stop stuttering, I swear. Anyways, we get this junction US-378 sign off of business US-501. Here we meet South Carolina 905 and US-701. US-701 has an error here as well. Of course it does. We meet US-701 again, not really, and US-501. US-701 is just wrong, I'll say that. Anyways, we're signed for Lake City. We get a mileage sign here for Lake City and Sumter. Sumter's good, I'll say that, but I'm surprised I didn't put Columbia in for over 100 miles away. That would be pretty cool. After South Carolina 41 joins us, we get a mileage sign for Lake City all by itself. What happened to Sumter? It's just gone, and even nothing for South Carolina 41. That's just disappointing. As South Carolina 41 leaves us, South Carolina 51 joins us, and we are now signed for Florence and Sumter. We should have kept, actually no, Florence is right, never mind, sorry. When South Carolina 51 splits from us, it gets Pamplico with Florence, which is good, and we get Lake City back along with Sumter, which is really good. near
Lake City.
we meet US-52, and it has a weird shield here below an S sign, and it is signed for Florence. As we leave
Lake City.
we meet our
Lake City.
business route, and we will be concurrent with South Carolina 341. After South Carolina 341 leaves us, we get this awesome mileage sign for Tuberville, Sumter, and Columbia. Here we enter Tuberville and become concurrent with US 301. At the US 301 split, we get a cool traffic light that's marking a road here, so yeah. Here we meet US 76 business and US 76 proper. For some reason there's no proper US 76 sign, it's just a business sign. There's a Sumter sign as well. After US 76 has joined us, we meet US 401, which is signed for Darlington. Here we meet US 15, which is signed for Bishopville, with a 15 mile per hour exit ramp, and Bishopville is over 15 miles away. Then we meet US 521, which goes to Camden. Next we pass by the US Air Force Shaw Air Base. Next we meet US 601, which goes to St. Matthews and Camden. We meet I-77 in South Carolina 262. I-77 is signed for Charlotte, Charleston, and Spartan. Here we join US 1 at this light. Here's where US 76 finally splits from us. Here we meet US 176, 321, and 21. Here we leave US 1 to head toward I-26 westbound. Here we meet I-26, which is signed for Charleston and Spartanburg. Then we meet I-20, which is signed for Augusta and Florence. Here we join South Carolina 6. Here's where we split from South Carolina 6. We join the 1 again. Here we split from US 1 and get signed for Saluda as US 1 heads to Aiken. This is the right choice. We get a one-liner for Saluda, and maybe you can mention a town in South Carolina 391's favor, sorry. 391's favor. I don't know. Just saying. Could be a good build. We meet South Carolina 391, and it is signed for Prosperity in Batesburg, Leesville. Then we get a mileage sign for Saluda and McCormick, which is the right choice. Here in Saluda, we meet with US 178 connector, the invisible route, and it is signed for Greenwood. And this picture is from Porterville 900, so thank you again for the pictures. And the picture on the bottom left corner is not by him, it's Google Maps, just saying. We make a right turn here, and we get a sign for McCormick and Atlanta from 170 miles. Wait, I said that wrong. Hold on. Restart. 171 miles away! That's actually insane. Alright. Yep. You get this, SC Dot. You deserve it. Now this is my personal picture. We meet US 178, South Carolina 121, and South Carolina 39, and they are signed for Johnston and Greenwood. We are signed for McCormick. We meet South Carolina 430, which goes to Edgefield. We still have Atlanta. This is awesome! We meet US 25, which is signed for Greenwood and Edgefield. We meet South Carolina 67 again, and like I said last time, is that it's for US 25 this time. Greenwood has already been an option. Put just Callison and let's have McCormick in Atlanta. Thank you kindly. Then we have this monstrosity at the intersection. Why is it Route SC 283 and then the 8 is the mileage and it looks misleading like right there at the end. That is just terrible. Just use a shield or extend South Carolina 67 to it. Simple as that. At this interesting stop sign, we join US 221. Here we get a bunch of mileage signs for state parks, which is fine as long as they stay their own thing, but here's some Google Map looks of them and some personal pics. I'm going to get some pictures of downtown McCormick. You can see the traffic light and the lookout sign for the railroad crossing there. And also this big painted wall that's welcoming you to McCormick and McCormick County, the natural pace of life. Or place, I can't tell from right here, but you'll see on your screen. But anyways, you can see a little map on the top left as well, and some beautiful art. Here, US 221 leaves us to join South Carolina 28 and the South Carolina Heritage Corridor Nature Route. We are signed for Lincolnton now, while US 221 and South Carolina 28 are signed for Augusta and Plum Grant. Then I have a personal picture of the mileage sign for Lincolnton and Atlanta, and this is really good SC Dot. We pass by that side road again, we cross the Savannah River, and now we are in Georgia. Georgia 43 begins and is immediately concurrent with us. Our first mileage time is of Lincolnton and Washington. Of course we're on District Atlanta, but that's fine. It's completely fine. And here we get signs like we're on an interstate apparently. I guess this is cool though. Next we meet Georgia 220. Here we meet Georgia 79 and Georgia 43 connector. Georgia 43 connector heads towards Appling and Augusta and connects to Georgia 47. And Georgia 79 goes to Elberton. Well, not really, it goes to Georgia 72, which goes to Elberton. Here, Georgia 43 leaves us, while Georgia 47 takes its place. Here we get a good mileage time for Washington and Athens. Nice job, GDOT. You actually did something good. Very good, actually. Although I kind of wish Atlanta was still there. And we actually get an ensign in Washington as we made our parent route US-78 and Georgia 17 and another Georgia route, I guess. Georgia 10, that's right. And just because of that Georgia dot, I'll show you some mercy. Here you go. Alright chat, I hope you enjoyed this episode of ECRR, and hope you enjoyed US-378. Here are the total stars, and I hope you enjoyed once again. See ya.